Digimon's story, Time Stranger, has been a huge success, and because of that, a lot of people have wanted to get into the franchise, or even in some cases, reconnect with it. You know, fans who maybe were into it 10, 15, or even 20 years ago and just lost track of the IP. Unfortunately, people who only watched part of the first season or knew nothing about this story, they ran into a huge wall called lack of information, or even straight up misinformation, and an obscene amount of merchandise, lore, timelines, in short, a bunch of things that, as I said, are pretty much scarecrows for people. Which, although it's not something new on the internet, well, there are other massive franchises like Fate, Mega Man, or Warhammer that present the same challenge to newcomers. Digimon is unique because it lacks a stable, dedicated fan base to support newcomers, especially in the Spanish-speaking community. Most streamers and new fans who have become interested in the lore. The new video game introduced them to the three most classic casual fans, who scare people away instead of helping. The first ones are fans who just tell you to watch all the anime and play all the games, which doesn't make any sense at all. Because if someone asks which products to try, it's precisely to avoid consuming absolutely everything. I've been a fan of this franchise for 2 decades. And I haven't played all the video games. By the way, soon on the channel, we'll have a guide on where to start in the IP, and which products to check out based on what you're looking for. The second type of fans are the ones who bombard you with information without any order or spam, the names of Digimon that are interesting to them, hoping the new fan will Google it and love the design. While Digimon designs are epic, most are just drawings without context and don't stand out. To make the... while bombarding with information. It's useless without context. For example, why tell a new fan? What? Luciman is the son of Yggdrasil and one of the 7 great demon lords who rule the Cocytus of the Dark Area. If the new person doesn't know who Yggdrasil is, what the Cocytus is, what the Dark Area is, or what a great demon lord is. The third group are those fans who only serve to repeat what they've already heard or read somewhere. Whether it's in forums, Reddit subforums, any kind of internet place, I don't know, any site where Digimon is discussed. Repeating misinformation that is way too common in this IP. Seriously, I think it's one of the franchises with the most misinformation on the internet, which only confuses newcomers even more. As soon as they read a little and see that the information floating around out there is, in many cases, incorrect. It makes them wonder if the fan is wrong, if things are being faked, if it's just text, if it's been retconned. In short, it's a mess. So, to avoid interacting with this part of the fandom, or looking for information in old videos that are now outdated, to help new people who want to get into the lore of Digimon, this video was made with the help of some lore masters, which is a mini guide to the most basic things you need to know when getting into the lore of the IP. Well, Bandai, while it is friendly to newcomers, still makes the mistake of assuming things. You already know the basics we've repeated in nearly every product for years. Newcomers from the past 25 years likely won't know this. At the start of Time Stranger, Omegamon appears. While fans knew how he beat Metal Greymon, newcomers didn't understand why, or why he wasn't helping us. This is because since Omegamon is the mascot of the franchise, Bandai just assumes that everyone already knows him. To enhance your experience, the video was split into 5 parts. What is a Digimon and how does it work? Second, what is the digital world and its key areas? Third, key characters you likely know from the lore. Fourth, well-known terms. Fifth, tips for longtime fans. And for the new ones or those who are reconnecting with the IP. That's fine. What is a Digimon and how does it work? Is it something you eat? Let's start from the beginning. Digimon are digital life forms that are made up of 2 elements. The first is 1 or more little balls. Called Digicores, these act like computers to store and manage Digimon information. The second element is the Digimon's wireframe, which is the body it uses to interact with its environment. The Digimon's wireframe will reflect the information stored in its Digicore. If a Digimon looks like an insect, it has insect data. If it looks like a dragon, it has dragon data. Simple. If it has the shape of a sugar mommy, is it because it has erotic data of women from adult sites, or data of women in general? And yes, this is serious. This is real. Those designs of voluptuous women and such, I'm telling you, that's not what they are. It's just a coincidence, and they're justified narratively. Digimon acquires data by consuming information it encounters, either directly through the wireframe or by quantum absorption. Digimon lacking a fixed physical form and being wireframe entities based on Digicore can shrink or expand according to their total amount of data. That's why sometimes we see them in different sizes, even if they're the same species. This also causes Digimon to be bigger on the inside than the space you actually see on the outside. Stronger Digimon require more space. From this mini dimension of their own that they have inside, so to speak, powerful Digimon are able to create pocket mini dimensions based on how powerful they are. These can range from the size of a few streets to surpassing the size of the universe. It's also important to note that Digimon are species. For instance, all Agumon belong to one species, but each individual has a unique personality and traits. When a Digimon consumes too much data, it increases its information, and as a result, the Digimon's information changes. This causes the Digimon to go through a process called Digivolution, in which the Digicore readjusts the wireframe to fit the new data. Instead of waiting to see if Digimon of the same species had a different diet or power, when they evolve into different Digimon. If a species from the same Digimon family already exists, its data is similar to the Digimon's Digicore. When it evolves, will it choose to become that Digimon? If, on the other hand, there is no species with the traits of the Digicore, then when it evolves, another one will be created. A new species. Many of you have probably been told or shown the meme that Digimon don't have logical evolutions. Using Gatamon's evolution line as an example, it goes from a dog to a cat, then a scantily clad woman, and finally, a strange furry dragon. But Digimon actually have pure evolutions. The issue is that many species are related, so it's common to see them diverge. For example, this is the pure line of Angemon, but because Luxmon is so rare, as well as how unpopular they are, well, it's more common for Bandai to use this line, since the holy ring on Gatamon's tail gives her sacred power. As a result, due to meeting evolutionary requirements, it's easier for her to go down the Angewoman line than to another Beast Digimon line. In the lore, this made some species extinct or rare since Digimon evolve more easily. First into another Digimon, one that's weaker or more accessible. We talk a lot about power. That's because Digimon aim to be stronger than others. They can still have their own personalities, religions, politics, elections, and civilizations. Still, their Digicore is programmed to make them seek greater strength. Some train to exhaustion, others use objects or buffs, and some prey on others, on other weaker Digimon to add their data to their own. To finish the point about Digimon, you may wonder why they're so dangerous. Children often keep them as pets or friends. There are two main reasons for that. First, Digimon have reasoning similar to humans, so it's very easy for them to form social bonds, which, considering that Digimon are attracted to consuming human emotions because they're easily digestible and grant a lot of power, easily leads most of them to see working with a human as something positive. Of course, it's worth mentioning that not all Digimon are friendly toward humans, and in fact, it's been mentioned in many products that Digimon see humans as a plague, food, or toys. The reason is Auto-Digimon, created when a Digimon forms through a human's biped. They need to stay near their Tamir and get affection. Otherwise, the Digicore is forcibly shut down. According to the lore, when someone resets a biped or deletes a Digi, why didn't they like this one? It's sent to the digital world where it ends up dying painfully. Alright, having explained what is technically a Digimon, so to speak. It's their world. What is the digital world? And which areas should you know about? The digital world, or digital world, is the universe where Digimon and other digital creatures that don't necessarily have to be Digimon live. It's a cyberspace within the global computer network, serving as a continuous data flow. It connects the human world with the digital world, usually represented with its ecosystem of islands and continents. How does it work? In the Digimon universe, anything entering the network turns into digital data. This concept includes both physical matter and intangible ideas like the soul, emotions, or thoughts. This data flows freely through the network, powering the computers that form the digital world's foundation. The network can actually be simulated locally. With the right knowledge, a person could create a small digital world inside their own PC. However, it would be much less dense and complex than a world managed by a host computer. Can maintain large, stable digital networks. Some devices, such as bipeds, connect both worlds by offering a compressed version of the digital world, letting you view your surroundings in a simplified way. Host computers serve as the main administrators of various digital worlds. Traditionally, all the information from each digital world was stored inside one of these machines. However, as technology evolved, the digital world moved to the cloud. This lowered the processing load on host computers, making them mainly managers. Administrators, granted authority, view the hosts as divine beings. Digital, their role varies depending on the world. Some intervene only in critical situations, while others are dedicated to researching and guiding the evolution of the digital world. It is known that the host computers were created by a higher entity known as the Great Intention, although very little is known about the nature of this being. The multiplicity of the digital worlds. There is not just one digital world. The franchise features several independent versions of the same concept, each with unique environments, rules, and structures. Worlds in Digimon Adventure, the V-Tamer manga, Digimon World games, and V-Pets are different versions of this universe. In 2003, a major event happened in the lore. An information overload hit the host computer Yggdrasil, prompting it to merge previous worlds into one network by reconfiguring the digital architecture. This is how the clustered digital world emerged, an interconnected, cloud-hosted version free from old server limitations. This new world became known as the New Digital World. The New Digital World was structured in layers or terminals, one corresponding to the past with prehistoric and hostile environments, another in the present with balanced ecosystems, and one in the future, an advanced and utopian digital megalopolis. In addition to the domain of Yggdrasil, there are other digital worlds managed by other host computers. The Iliad Digital World, governed by Homeros, the Shambhala Digital World, managed by Kunlun. It has its own laws, digital ecosystems, and hierarchies, showing the diversity and complexity of the Digimon digital universe. Is it dangerous to enter the network? Well, let's see. We believe that in most products, a person can enter the network and have their matter converted into data. This is called digitization. Usually, the network easily recognizes human information. And if the entry into a digital world is not abrupt or violent, tied to a forced or aggressive digitization process, there will be no problems. Physical matter could completely lose the flow of information, becoming fragmented, so the affected person will be turned into a digital entity, or simply their being will cease to exist and become junk data. Areas of interest in the digital world. The digital world is full of special zones and dimensions, each with its own rules, inhabitants, and purpose within the system. Next, we will talk about some of the most important ones within the lore of Digimon. Witcherly is a small digital world. After the formation of the cluster, the digital world came under the rule of Yggdrasil. Previously, this world was called the Tamagotchi of Magical Witches and had a magical style similar to Harry Potter. In Witcherly, Digimon learn magic and digital sorcery at a school split into 4 houses, each with its own tradition. In the past, this world was invaded by external forces, but it was protected by the Royal Medieval Knight Newcomers, along with the local Digimon to save it. A fun fact, Witcherly is a dimension or server within the digital world, making it part of its structure, though it has its own culture and magical rules. The Dark Area, another essential zone. And you'll hear a lot about it. It's the Dark Area, also known in the past as the Data Graveyard. This is where all deleted or destroyed data ends up. Every digital world has a dark area filled with deleted Digimon fragments or leftover digital data. They are all interconnected through a region called Cocytus. This area is governed by the 7 great demon lords, powerful Digimon representing the 7 deadly sins. 2 legendary beings, Gothmon and Grand Dracomon, also dwell there, with powers rivaling the demon lords. Grand Dracomon created the first dark area, but its expansion is usually caused by factors beyond his control. The Kernel. Also called the Domain of God, the Kernel is the sacred area where it is processed. It manages all information in each digital world, serving as the central system regulating data flow. And now we'll move on to important characters, who you'll often take for granted that you know in this lore, simply essential characters. The IP's 3 protagonists are the host computers, Yggdrasil, Homeros, and Kunlun. The digital worlds. While they may seem lazy, what really happens is that they just don't like to intervene. Because the digital world doesn't affect them, they don't care. The next key characters are Agumon and its evolutions, as they're the IP's mascots. These are Kuromon, Agumon, Greymon, Metal Greymon, War Greymon, and Omegamon. The next characters are the group of Royal Knights, probably the most famous group in the IP. Call them whatever you prefer. They are in charge of protecting the digital world, but that doesn't mean they're directly heroes or super good guys. They're more like the Holy Inquisition. This is Omegamon, the first one to debut, being the fusion of War Greymon and Metal Garurumon. He's known for committing genocides in God's name and for a great movie. I'm serious about both the genocide and the movie. Next is Magnamon, known as the bullied little guy of the group. Then we have Dukamon, Lord Nightman, as the flamboyant one of the group. and Dynasmon as Lord Nightman's partner. Are they a couple? No, they're not, but it feels like they are. Ulforce Draman, who is the fastest of the Royal Knights. Next is Alphamon, also known as the group's human resources manager, and the most clueless Digimon in the group. But we'll talk about that another day. Deal? Don't get nervous. The next Royal Knight is Slatemon, also known as the digital world's Santa Claus, Father Christmas. Then there's Craniumon, Hydraxil's simp, and the group's most active Royal Knight. Then we have Doofmon as the strategist. Then Hexamon is the most powerful member, except in several parameters. Then there's Gankamon and his son Jesmond. The next key group is the 7 Great Demon Lords, also called the 7 Great Demon Lords. Each represents a deadly sin. While they live in the dark area, they're not necessarily evil. And you can even negotiate or become friends with them, which makes them more interesting characters. These are Demon, Lilithmon, Parvamon, Belphamon, Leviamon, Beelzebumon, in other words, me. He's the strongest in the group and sometimes acts as the leader. This was originally created by Hydraxil to love and take care of the Digimon, but he became a madman who wants to create his own world where everyone is happy. Like Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi, he lives in the dark area. Because in the ancient times of the digital world, he rebelled against Hydraxil and sealed the local god of the digital world. He caused a genocide, started a rebellion to stage a coup against Hydraxil, which ended up resulting in a genocide, and the death of the 10 Warrior 10 legendary digital world warriors. So speaking of the Warrior 10, the next group is them. This group is made up of 10 Digimon who lived in the ancient era of the digital world. They were the first Digimon in the growth stage. To become ultimates, these were born at that level, skipping the evolution process. Their power is superior to that of normal ultimates, but inferior to Digimon with similar power, like the Royal Knights or the 7 Great Demon Lords, speaking of being the first ultimates. Next are the first 2 prototype Digimon, Doramon and Ryudamon, both artificially modified by Hydraxil for continued evolution. They were the first 2 Digimon in ancient times. To reach the ultimate level, being the 2 who founded, created, or debuted this level. The next key group of Digimon are the Holy Beasts, the 4 Sacred Beasts. So powerful in the ancient era, they were feared as gods. They even take care of managing the space-time of Hydraxil's digital world. They might be mistaken for being lazy, but they spend most of their energy restoring the fabric of reality. Every time someone damages it to open portals, black holes, or uses techniques that affect space. There are many kinds of time in Digimon. These are connected to Huanglumon, who is sometimes considered the group's leader, or a fusion of the 4. He fought Lucemon, Satan Mode, and Terminocelido in ancient times. 2 other somewhat important groups, the 4 Great Dragons and the Army of God. The first of these is made up of 4 dragons that ruled in the ancient era. The second group refers to the angels and their hierarchy, led by the 3 great angels. They aren't the most powerful in God's army, but they're still in command because Hydraxil wanted it. I mention both groups together because they each protect the Kernel in their own way. The last 2 key groups are the Olympus 12 and Tente Hachibushu, guardians of the digital world. They serve a role similar to the Royal Knights in their own digital worlds, as do those of Shambhala. Now, moving on to specific important characters, the first one to mention is Ryo starred in several early games, so the fandom is very fond of him. Even though, in terms of lore, almost nobody knows anything about the lore of the games, and they only know that he faced Zed. Millenniummon is among the most famous Digimon in the franchise, like Zed. In fiction and forums, his power has often been exaggerated since ancient times. Because of his ability to travel through time, create and tear apart dimensions, control minds, and regenerate in different timelines every time he dies. Despite being semi-intangible and having other abilities, he's still not considered a top-tier Digimon. So when you see someone telling you that he's among the strongest, well, that's just a lie. Talking about the current strongest. Officially, the most powerful Digimon of all are Jesmond GX and Ogudamon X. Mireille is this girl who doesn't have a real body and manifests in different dimensions as a digital program. She is the assistant of the 3 host computers, so it's common to see her in different video games. In fact, in many of them. She assists the protagonist in various situations without engaging in combat. The last important character to know is Masaru Daimon. This teenager is famous for being the first one who changed Hydrasil's opinion, and it's thanks to him that the potential power of what can be achieved through the friendship between a Digimon and a human was demonstrated. Like a nuisance. This didn't happen suddenly. After hearing Masaru, Hydrasil went to meditate, which caused Hydrasil to be absent from the IP for years, which triggered the plot of many products. From 2007 to 2013, a meme claimed, Hydrasil was knocked out instantly. But this is misinformation created to try to make a joke that Masaru defeated him, which is false. He only defeated a small avatar of Hydrasil. Famous technologies. The wireframe, the digital world, computer, host, and digivolution. We'll now cover some common but important concepts. Yogres is a type of fusion between Digimons. The word means join to progress. Many times you can find it as deoxyribonucleic acid and DNA evolution mean the same thing. Whenever two Digimon fuse, it's a Yogres. It doesn't matter if they call it deoxyribonucleic acid or whatever. Chrome Digizoid is a super digital metal that has different properties based on its color and purity. Even the weakest Chrome Digizoid with the lowest purity, material from the human world, this super metal has the quality of being able to merge with living tissue over time. X-Digimon is the term used for Digimon that carry the X antibody, a program that protects them from an existential deletion virus created by Hydrasil. When did he go crazy? These are improved versions of other Digimon or species from products related to the X-Digimon. There's a myth that the X antibody unlocks a Digimon's full power, but it's only a myth. The X antibody activates dormant or repairs damaged data in the Digicore, causing it to mutate and show traits of related Digimon species. Burst mode. This is a state of some Digimon which is characterized by taking the Digimon's power to the limit, to the point where it's the most their body can handle, sacrificing their own data. Only a select group of Digimon can reach burst mode. Rebirth cycle. When Digimon die, if their data isn't erased or devoured by another Digimon, they usually turn into eggs to be reborn after a while. Dark evolution. This term refers to when a Digimon evolves using the power of darkness. In negative situations, Digimon commonly undergo this. They may become violent or cruel, losing reason and attacking everything they see. Sacred power uses light infused with positive emotions and energy, benefiting allies or harming those who possess programming viruses. Dark power uses shadows fueled by negative emotions, dark matter, and viruses to harm opponents. Finally, 5. Tips from old fans for newcomers or those who are reconnecting with the IP. My advice, my personal one, now we'll go with a tip from my team. My personal advice is to take it easy. I know Digimon seems very intimidating when you first get into it, but it's really not like that. Almost all the products, I dare say 95% of the products are made so that you can get into that product, having little or no knowledge beforehand, or at most the small concepts we've talked about in this short video, which, as you can see, aren't that big of a deal. Just a 20-30 minute video to cover the main idea, it's no big deal. It can be intimidating, but I suggest starting where you feel most comfortable. We're making a video on how to get into the franchise based on your interests, so stay tuned for it. But from here, I'm telling you that you can start wherever you want. Anime, video games, even manga. And really, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where you start. If anything, you can ask a friend of yours who knows something about Digimon to guide you a bit. Story-based video games are great starter products. Some word options may not be ideal for beginners, but you might still like them. If you like Tamagotchi or anime, I recommend watching them. I recommend watching Adventure 02 Tamers, Frontier, and Savers in release order. And as for manga, it's more complex, but you can begin with a manga like Digimon Beat Tamer. Don't hesitate to start. Start with a new video game, an older one at a good price, or just watch an anime. Right now, there's an anime that's just starting to air, which is Digimon Beat Break. You can add it to your list of anime you're watching. It's a seasonal one. Now, moving on to my team's advice, well, in this case, from one of my team members. I'll read it myself. Just picture it's him, okay? I'll read it exactly. Advice from Assistant Banda. Don't trust every meme or drama from the community. Many content creators exaggerate negativity for attention. Claims about lore retcons decanonizing multiple products aren't true for the Japanese. All Digimon content is canon and may be used by future authors. If you see some strange case of contradiction, most of the time it's just a plot error by the author, not a retcon of the whole IP. If someone says each product is isolated and there's no real lore, just ignore them. There are dozens of products that are sequels to others, or sequels of sequels, or are interconnected through the narrative, so all the products do share the same universe. Lore is the message left to us by Dippy Natsa, the Grave of Debates. And my right hand? Regarding Digimon and all its lore and everything related to it. I'll also leave here the names of other people who are helping with the videos to give you some good and reliable information about Digimon. And that would be all. Stay tuned for the next videos, support them, share so more people see this, and we'll continue next time. Bye.